Okay, so now we're at the image.func.php file. We need to work out what we need to do inside our upload image function in order to actually upload the image. Now the first thing we're going to do is sanitize this album ID, which is actually supplied by the user. And because we're going to use this in our query, we'll want to prevent SQL injection as much as possible. So we're going to create a new variable called album ID, and we're going to cast to an integer data type, and we're going to cast album ID to an integer data type. We've seen this in other parts of the tutorial, so you should be familiar with why we do this. The next thing we want to do is create a MySQL query, or perform a MySQL query, and this is going to insert the data into the database. So we need to say insert into images. Let's just bring up our bring up PHP MyAdmin and click on the images field, and let's just take a look at the data we need to insert. The first one is the image ID, which is auto incremental. We don't need to enter anything for this. Then we've got the user ID, the album ID. We need to generate a timestamp and also put the image extension in. So we have the image extension here, and we have the album ID here, and with image temp we're going to use the move uploaded file function to actually move the file to the relevant folder. So the values we are inserting is first of all the ID, which we can leave blank. The second one is the user ID. So this is, we can escape the data here, or escape the string rather, and concatenate on the user's ID. The next field we want to create, or the next field we want to insert is the album ID. So we can just specify album ID. And we need to now generate a Unix timestamp, so that's using the Unix timestamp function. We then want to go ahead and put the image extension in, and we've already passed this to the function, so we can simply do image extension. Okay, so that's inserted it into the database. However, we haven't actually moved the file to where we need it to be. Now we need to generate or return the last inserted ID in order to call the file name, the name. So for example, if the image ID is 9000 or 1 or 2 or however many images exist, and where the image ID function, or sorry, the image ID value is up to, we need to return this. So the image ID now becomes MySQL insert ID, and remember, MySQL insert ID returns the last inserted ID, the query that was previously performed. So we now need to work out the file name of the image. Now this is going to be a combination of the image ID, so the image ID from the database, and then the extension. So to do this, we create a new variable called image file, and this is equal to image underscore ID. We then want to concatenate a full stop or a dot on, and then we want to concatenate the image extension. So the image file name is now consist of the image ID that's relative to the database and the image extension. So for example, if it was the first image you were inserting, it would be 1 dot and then the file extension. So if the site was brand new and you'd just created the database, the image ID would be 1. Let's say we uploaded a JPEG file, the image extension would be JPG. Okay, so now that we've done that, we want to actually move the uploaded file. So we can use the move uploaded file function, and this takes two parameters. The first is the temporary image name, and we've passed that to the function, so we can just supply that in there, image temp. And now it's where we want to upload it to. So this is slightly more complicated. We're obviously uploading all images to the uploads directory, but we need to upload it to the album ID, because obviously when we create an album, we create a folder with the album name, so 58, 59, 60, and so on. So we've already passed the album ID, so we can just concatenate that onto there. Now we need to concatenate on a / and then the image file, which we've already generated, so image underscore file, which would be, for example, 1.jpg. So now let's go down. The next thing we want to do is actually insert the extension into the database. Oh, actually no, we don't, because we've already inserted the image extension, so we don't actually need to do this, sorry. Okay, so the next thing to do is actually generate the thumbnail. Now we have thumb.func.php, which was supplied with this package, and the function name is create_thumb. Now we need to supply the directory where we want the file exists, so where the image exists. We already have that, and we know what that is because we've just moved it to here. We then need to supply the actual image itself, and then the destination that we want to place the image. So just to clarify, directory is where the image exists, image is the actual image, and destination is where we want to place it. So we want to take the directory that we've just uploaded to, which is where the album is. So for example, it could be, the file could now exist, now that we've uploaded it, in folder 58. It might then be called 1.jpg, and we already know that because we've created a variable to handle that, and we want to place it in thumbs and in the relevant folder. So we're storing them in their relevant folder names, or that, based on the album ID. So now that we know what we need to pass, we can go ahead and use the create thumb function to actually create the thumbnail. Now the location of the image is uploads / and then we need to concatenate the album ID. We then need to concatenate on a trailing of /. The next parameter that we need to pass is the file, and that's image file, because we generated that here. So we're taking the image from this directory and this file here, and then the third and final parameter is where we actually want to place the uploaded thumbnail. So that's in uploads /thumbs / and then the album ID. And then we need a leading or a trailing / as well. So this will generate the thumbnail as well. So now that we've done this, the upload image function is complete, and we can go ahead and actually upload an image to test this. So we're over to our browser, and what we want to do is go ahead and choose a file and choose an album. Now let's take a look at the source and see where these albums correspond to with regards to their ID.